Yo, what's up guys, OT here. Welcome back to another video, and today's video is mostly going to be about my current formation that I'm using to play divisions and most of my competitive matches as well, and it's the 5-2-1-2 but with a little bit of a twist. So we'll talk about the play styles, the positions, quiet skill for some of the players you're going to be using, and the different custom instructions as well. Everything you need to get sorted out to actually play like this. We'll start from the playstyle itself. I'm using long ball counter mostly with Gasparini as my coach. Gasparini is able to play both quick counter and long ball counter because he has 88 proficiency in them. You don't necessarily need to use a coach that has both proficiencies, because I mostly play long ball counter with both my main tactic and my sub tactic. But in some cases where the game gets really out of my hand, that I can't think of anything, I then just switch to quick counter to see if I can get the game to my advantage. But yeah, that's the manager sorted out, so you can use any long ball counter manager. Right, so why do I use long ball counter? It's mostly because I need my defensive line to remain defensive.
I am Jose Mourinho.
Because the goal, my philosophy is to defend and counter. Right, that is my philosophy. If it's not your philosophy, it might be a bit strange at first, but you know, just test it out and see how it goes. Moving on from manager to the actual formation itself, it's a 5-2-1-2. As you can see, 5 defenders, 2 defensive midfielders, 1 attacking midfielder, and 2 center forwards. Right, so to start things off, let me know, can you guys notice anything in my back line? It's the fact that I'm not using any destroyers. I'm using mostly defensive fullbacks, and the reason why is, I think this is just a matter of preference, but for me, I find it very difficult to defend with destroyers because you can't predict their movement all the time, because they always want to go to where the ball is, right? And if your opponent switches the ball from place to place, destroyers can be very volatile, right? So that's why I try not to go for destroyers, especially when I'm playing 4 main defenders and 1 attacking fullback. It looks like it's a 5 at the back, but most of the time Lam operates somewhere around here and here, but it comes back to perform his defensive duties, but it mostly operates somewhere here and like deep into the opposition's third as well. That way it's more or less using 4 defenders with 1 guy that's always just coming back to help defend as well. So I'm using mostly defensive fullbacks, Arao, Tomiyasu, Maldini, and Costa Curta. And on my bench, you'll notice I have another defensive fullback as well, which is Bergomi. Bergomi comes in for Lam once in a while if I need him to. But I also have Van Dijk and Tah, and the main reason why I have these 2 build-up players here is because I want to ensure I defend properly against cross spammers. When you're playing people like Kolar, Haaland, Soloth, or Drogba, you need people that are very tall that can handle those crosses coming in, because you won't be able to defend all the crosses, right? So I have Van Dijk and Tah here that helps support, because Costa Curta isn't the tallest, so I mostly take Costa Curta out, and I also take Maldini out in some cases, because Tomiyasu and Arao still have one of the best aerial prowess in the game. So moving on to my right back, you can use an attacking fullback here. For me, I've gone with Orchestrator Lam because that's what I have. In the past, I used attacking fullback Trent with edge crossing, but I found Lam to be way more useful than Trent, solely because he has very high defensive stats, he has very good passing, very good speed, and also very good on the ball with his tight possession. So he's that all-round player. But if you don't have someone like Lam, there are still people that can fill in this role properly, right? You have Trent can fill in this role properly. Any decent attacking fullback can fill in this role properly as well. Say someone like Hakimi, but Hakimi doesn't have defensive stats. That might be the only problem, but you should still be fine. Moving on to my midfield, we have Vieira, the one and only. So I'm using Destroyer Vieira at the moment. You can use the Anchorman as well. I've used that for quite a while, but I've just found this Vieira to be much more active in games in trying to win the ball back. And since I've been able to remove some of the previous skills I added to him, I brought him back to my team. Very solid in that midfield. And then next to Vieira, we have De Jong. So most times, actually guys, I've been using Kimmich here for a very long time, But thanks to the new updates where you can delete skills as well, I've been able to bring De Jong back, because now I've been able to give him track back and fighting spirit, which he didn't have before. So now adding that, this is a very, very solid card. He and Kimmich mostly play this particular role for me. So either De Jong or Kimmich, both of them play that role. And you'll notice something about both of them. They're quite aggressive. If you look at the aggression is at 97. So reason why I want them to be a bit aggressive is because I just love people that can fight for the ball, right, in that particular position. They are very good on the ball, but they can also fight for the ball, right? And that's De Jong for you. And then over here, you have your whole player. I mostly use all players here. You can use creative playmakers here as well, or inactive play styles, right? So say a prolific winger that can play AMF, you most likely have an inactive play style there. But if it's a creative playmaker or whole player, that's perfect as well. Because on my bench, you can see I have the likes of Hulit, although he doesn't play that position a lot, but once in a while. Then I have Honest as well, who is a whole player, right? So moving on to the forward line, I have one goal poacher and one inactive play style as well. And this can vary. You just need to find a strike partnership you are very comfortable with. I really love Bale on that left side because of his knock-ons. As you all know, guys, I love knock-ons. If you don't know what knock-on is, there is a video attached in the description and you can see it on the screen right now as well, right? So Bale for the knock-ons and those long-range curlers, right? And then Eto'o for just running in behind, Mr. Run and Gun. Eto'o is still one of my most prolific players and I just signed him recently. So if you look at his stats, he has 94 goals and 57 assists in 90 games, which shows you how lethal he is in front of goal, right? So Eto'o is that guy. Then Liao as well is here for the running behind as my whole player, and also the knock-ons as well from the left side of my attack. So moving on to instructions for this tactic. First things first, I have defensive on Costa Curta and defensive on Vieira. The reason why is solely because Lam is going to be attacking most of the times. Like I said earlier on, Lam will be somewhere around here, mostly attacking and joining in here and also dropping back to defend. But every time he goes forward, I want to ensure that I still maintain a back four. And that's where the defensive instruction on Costa Curta comes in. So whenever Lam goes forward, Arao kind of shifts to that right back position, and Tomiyasu and Maldini take the center back position while Costa Curta remains. And for the defense instructions, I mostly just type mark depending on the dangerous players within the opposition's team. And for the sub tactic, it's kind of like going a bit attacking. I mostly do this when I'm looking for goals or I need to score more goals. In this case, you can see how versatile my players are. My players are quite versatile, so that's something you must keep in mind as well. Still playing long ball counter, but this time around, I have Arao here as the right center back. Right, the far right center back here, and then Tomiyasu and Maldini. So it kind of like mirrors the position when I'm attacking with my main tactic. There's a little bit of twist on it because De Jong is now AMF, and then Lam's coming to the midfield to provide that support within this area here. And then I switch to 3 attackers, and what happens most of the time is most of my opponents are always start marking Bale and Eto'o, which leaves Liao completely free in that attack most of the times when I switch to this particular tactic, and all that is left is for De Jong or Kimmich to just get those passes in easily. Thing I didn't talk about real quick is my goalkeeper. My goalkeeper is Schmeichel, a defensive goalkeeper. I prefer defensive goalkeepers, especially when playing long ball counter. But if you're a quick counter fan, you most likely maybe want attacking goalkeepers because they kind of like push up to clear the ball, sweep the ball out. It's kind of like your Manuel Neuer type of goalkeepers. But either ways, that's about that. Back to defensive goalkeepers. Yeah, you can use any defensive goalkeeper of your choice. I prefer Schmeichel because it's working with Manuel Kosser with Schmeichel is very, very good. I don't know why, but it seems to be one of the best with that. And yeah, crazy reflexes, crazy awareness. For the instructions, attack instructions still remain the same. Defensive on Costa Curta, defensive on Vieira. So defensive on Costa Curta, defensive on Vieira. Instructions still remain the same. And then once again, I mostly just type mark whoever is the most dangerous player on my opposition's team, and then it's still about the same thing. Just getting those 1-2s, knock-ons from left, knock-ons from right, whichever way it goes, right? And then some long range shots from De Jong as well. In terms of skills, ensure your DMF here has long range shooting. Very, very important, because you might get some like shots from distance. It might not turn into a goal, but maybe you get a corner from it, and who knows, you get a goal from that corner as well. If you go to my subs, my defenders don't get tired because I'm playing long ball counter, so it's very rare for my defenders to get tired Only maybe in cases where I switch to quick counter within the game, then they get tired, then I can bring in the likes of Bergomi, Van Dijk, or even sometimes I play Rijkaard at CB against cross spammers if the crossing is too much and my defenders can handle it. And then we have Kimmich as well. Kimmich comes in for De Jong at about 60-70 minutes, and then in some cases where I just need to completely defend and break legs, I bring in the Pitbull himself, right, Edgar Davids, just to break people's legs. That's all he does in my team, because you see, he doesn't have the best type possession stats or the best passing. He's just there to break legs. That's why he's there. So you're defending a 1-0 lead, and let's say your opponent is constantly applying pressure. All you just need to do is bring in Davids, man, and just start breaking legs, especially when you're leading. We have Hulit as well. So sometimes I switch to a more dominant player in the air. So I could bring in Hulit for Eto, or in some cases bring in Haaland as well. And this is bulleted at Haaland. So he's also a goal poacher, so the playstyle still remains the same, and is one of the crazy super sub guys. So I have super sub on him because I never start him. All he does is come in to score. That's all Haaland does. Then we have Messi as well, comes in for Bale from time to time, but sometimes I use Rummenigge in that left position as well, just because he has very high weak foot. In this particular position, if I'm not using a left-footed player, I tend to prefer a striker that has very high weak foot. So that way it can still hit the knock-ons or the shots with his weak foot, and it's still very, very effective. The new passing, by the way, one thing I've done is increase the passing stats of my players. So before, as you all know, Liao was a gym rat, and when I mean gym rat, he had like 90 physical and like 79 jumping thereabout. But now I favored more of finishing, because the finishing seemed to be a bit more difficult for some reason. So I've increased this finishing to 90. I've given him 86 low pass, so that means he can make much more decent passes. And De Jong, for example, has 97 low pass. Lam has 91 low pass as well, because Lam, De Jong, and Liao are my creative outlets. Bale and Eto are just there to score, but Liao, De Jong, and Lam are like the creative outlets within the team. These other 5 guys here are just to defend. These guys are the creators. These 3 guys, Liao, De Jong, Lam. These guys are the goal scorers. These guys are the creators. And then these are the defenders. Alright then, let's head back to gameplay footage. So, a few games to take a look at here. We got opponent here, former Division 1 player. And then we take a look at the opponent's formation. Opponent's playing 4 attackers. A lot of people seem to be playing 4 attackers now with like 2, the left wing, right wing, and 2 CFs. Because of the new updates, so a lot of people like pinging passes to the wing. But either ways, let's go on here. So with this in mind, I go ahead and type mark the wingers. That's the LWF and the RWF, just because I have more numbers in the middle, so I don't need to care about the center forwards. Just need to take care of the wing. And then we move on. Okay, so when starting off, you can see we're in this 5-3-2 shape when defending, where Liao actually drops back, and because you're playing him at AMF, he's actually going to drop back and defend quite well as well. And he doesn't really need defensive stats. He's long enough to intercept a few balls, and actually it's just pretty decent, man. Your AMF doesn't need defensive stats like that. They're always going to just drop back and, you know, add that extra body in the midfield. So let's take a look at this passage of play. So this guy gets the ball here, immediately sending it to the wing, but with the tight mark, I was able to try and get Lam closer to him there, but it wasn't enough. He still had his way and he got to my midfield. So the tight marking wouldn't work all the time, but at least it allows you to put pressure on players. Okay, so let's take a look at this passage of play as well. See, De Jong wins that ball back there, gives it to Vieira, to Liao, and this is just a pure counter-attacking football, nothing special, to be fair. But you can see we won the ball deep, and thanks to our 2 runners up front, we're able to get that counter going real quick. And Liao's passing was very, very good. Okay, One thing to always notice, because of the way the position of the players are structured in this formation, if you just take a look at the radar right now, Liao is most of the times always free, because it's very difficult to mark him at that position where he is at AMF. Very, very difficult to like place a man on him unless you choke up the midfield. So Liao is always an outlet for Lam or even De Jong to get the ball to. So if you look at this passage of play here, that's literally what happens. So Bale gives the ball to De Jong, Liao is free, and then is able to proceed. I don't think I get a goal from this though. Yeah, because I was unable to get that pass on. But it shows you how open it is most of the times. And guys, here's where tight marking becomes very, very useful. If you take a look at the radar right now, you would see his left winger and his right winger are marked, one of them by Lam, the other by Costa Curta. Right, so that's why I said Lam would always perform his defensive duties. Right, so if we continue here, you see immediately he moves the ball here. When it's about to pass, you will notice that Costa Curta is already on his right winger. Just take a look at the radar here. You can see the red and blue, they are close, they're very, very close together. And then when he hits the pass, Costa Curta is there to intercept, and we can continue our attack. That would have been a lovely pass though. And guys, this is where Lam becomes very, very useful. So in situations like this, right, when the middle is blocked, Lam makes that run in to provide options for crossing, which can be very, very, you can see immediately crosses, he runs back to go and defend. But when he's needed again, he's going to up forward. And that's the beauty of that Lam in that position. You can use an attacking fullback there as well. It would work just the same. If you want to try it out, you can use Kimmich in that position as well. If you have Kimmich, you can use him in that position as well. Works pretty decent there as well. But if you have a much more faster player with very high stamina, you need a player with very high stamina to perform that role. So please kindly use a player like that. Once again, remember I said that thing about Liao. Liao is always the free outlet. You can see there's always the free outlets to make passes happen. And then you can see once again, Lam is already marking that left wing forward, and we're able to intercept the ball faster again. And the ball goes to Liao again. Liao is always that outlet because he's always free, because most people tend to type mark the CFs. And the thing is, if you don't type mark the CFs and focus on Liao, the CFs as well would still be able to drop back and receive passes. So those are some of the things that make the formation really, really cool in terms of building up. And in terms of defending, I always try to hold on to the ball until I actually have the opportunity to attack, rather than just constantly booting the ball forward. Right, so I hold on to the ball, and if you notice in a lot of my games, I hold on to possession a lot more. Okay, so I'm recycling possession here just to ensure that I don't lose the ball easily, because I can't just put it up front. So I see Lam is completely free now. I switch the ball to him, and then I try to switch to Liao, but I see that Liao is still marked. So I do an exchange between Lam and De Jong, and then pass it to Bale, then to Eto'o, and back to Lam, and then try that cross, but it didn't work. Got a corner from it though, and that's how I was able to build that attack rapidly like that. See, so most of the times I don't try to just load the ball forward, I actually recycle the ball. But when I see the amount of options, I just send it forward, because at the end of the day, if you send it forward, you can, be in a calmer frame of mind to actually defend, just like Konami says. This next game, our opponent was playing a 4-1-2-3. The formation looks a bit weird, I can't lie, with two AMFs, classic 10 Zico, that's blitz curler, and Scholes, co-player. He has two blitz curlers, so we have to be careful, but he's also playing quick counter. So we focused on tight marking Vieri and Bale. Focus on tight marking Vieri and Bale because they're the farthest players to the side. Then I can deal with the blitzcrawler Son manually, right? And then we're all set and good to go. Still in that 5-3-2 shape once again as we start. So immediately you can see he's trying to look for those true passes to those wide forwards. But at least we are covering those passing lanes. And then as you can see, we try to hold on to the ball and not just boot it forward. Lam opens up space for us to attack there. Then Bale goes to the wing. I try to wait a bit and get the ball to Lam so we can cross, but it didn't work. You can see how open Liao is most of the times, right? He helps me create a lot of chances. And yes, your goalkeeper is always an option to recycle the ball. Don't let anyone fool you into thinking you can't always pass back to your goalkeeper. There are situations where it's better to just pass back to your goalkeeper than passing forward, so you don't concede very funny goals. We get a chance here, we couldn't make anything of it, and then Vieira is able to just go to where the ball is, and then De Jong intercepts, and with just one pass there, we are through on goal. So once again, guys, it's very important that your second ball playing DMF is very defensive and can pass, because you will get some really nice goals from that. So you can see how high Lam comes for when we're attacking. You can see him just behind De Jong, and he's able to combine with De Jong to create chances for me easily. So you can see we're able to recycle possession, and you know what, De Jong is something else, man. He gets the ball there, gives it to Lam loses it, he gets the ball back, and then that was just beautiful from Bale. So beautiful from Bale. And the reason why he's able to do that is because he has heel trick. You can see how effectively how he is at winning the ball back as well. Ensure you defend with your attackers as well. Don't just focus, because you have just 3 people in midfield. You would need your attackers to defend as well and then counter. See this particular counter attacking football here, so quick. We didn't have to pass too many times. De Jong wins the ball here. At this point in time, if you look at his defenders, he has just 2 defenders at the back, and one of them is marking Eto'o, which leaves a huge gap in his defense, especially in the center of his defense, right? And because there's that huge gap in the center of his defense, he's got 2 attacking fullbacks, I believe, right? And they're like up the field, right? So now it's a 3v3 at this point in time. It's a 3v3. And then all we just have to do is string good passes together and would be through on goal. So De Jong gets it to Bale, right? And when Bale gets it here, his DMF is running and marking Eto'o, but his 2 center backs are like split really far apart. And then all we just have to do here is get the layoff to Leao, and then the through pass to Eto'o, and Eto'o is through on goal. Obviously, he's not missing that. That was a very simple counter-attacking football there. That's the beauty of counter-attack. It's how fast the ball just gets to your opponent's end before they can even blink. And then this is where things get interesting. Towards the end of the game, I start realizing Eto'o is getting tired and he's not winning any aerial duels at all, and he's getting overwhelmed. So what I did was bring in somebody much more physical. Even De Jong at 70 minutes was already getting tired. If it was earlier in the game, De Jong wouldn't have lost that physical contest there. And yeah, guys, just to point one thing out real quick, Lam is always an option, especially when you're playing goal kicks or you're playing from the back like this. He's always free to then recycle possession for you. Okay, and this was what we knew, that we needed something up front. And then we went ahead to bring in Hones, Kiing, Haaland. So we needed fresh legs in attack because those guys were running for well over 70 minutes already. And then in doing that, increases your attack a bit more again. We cleared the ball. Messi tries to run over the ball, but it didn't work. We send ball back, and then see how we're able to just hold on to possession, because you have the numbers at the back. It helps you hold on to possession and attack when you want to. So that's what is loosely called artificial transitions. So you can create artificial transitions. It made Vieira lie down in green pastures there though. Okay, so Lam's on the ball here again. Kimmich is back. Matthias cuts out that pass. Fair enough. We get to the ball again. Go back to the goalkeeper. You can see how free Lam is, by the way. Because I could have given that to Lam, but I was looking for something else. That's another heel trick move from Haaland there. And then this here is so beautiful. Hones has 90 physical, so you can't really get him off the ball. And then we did stress things out. We switched play to just hold on to the ball a bit because we're in control. There's no need to rush, right? So we're able to keep possession a bit more. And then I just wanted to blitz and we wasted a chance. And yeah, Kiing sends in that pass, but Haaland couldn't get to it on time. But Kiing wins it back again. Haaland just gives it to Hones and we scored the 4th. So once again, you can see that your ball playing DMF must be very good defensively. So when he wins the ball, it can make those deadly passes. With that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular video. Let me know if you want me to do more of tactical reviews or tactical setups for other formations I use as well. And yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, boys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and stay blessed, everyone.